Hey guys, what's up? So I'm not in the studio as usual, I'm not in Graz, even I'm in Budapest in Hungary recording this for the first time. As you can notice, this is the first episode in English. I'm solo this time, don't have any guests. I came solo here to Budapest and I wanted to record this podcast mainly in English because I've been traveling like for a month and a half and I've been talking more in English than in Spanish. So I think maybe I can keep it with that flow and just give the opportunity to my English audience or my English-speaking friends that I've been meeting in this trip to hear this experience, and also for my English-Spanish audience that I think they really notice that this is not in Spanish anymore, at least for this episode. As you can see, I'm not in a studio, I'm just in the Danubian Sea. In Hungary, Budapest. There we have the parliament over there. What a beautiful city. This is one of the cities that I arrived, and 15 minutes later I was like, okay, this is one of my favorite cities in the world. Just the vibes, the culture, the energy that's moving here is crazy. But this is not the point of this podcast. On this podcast is Entrepreguntas number 17, I think. I would like to share you my experience about how traveling changed my way of looking at personal development or my career path, my professional career path also. And I want to share you my experience just in this podcast about how traveling is changing my life, and it has already changed my life. Okay, let's get it. So 4 years ago, I made a trip with a friend to Europe, and that was the point of inflection in my career path, I think. I thought my life was very linear through, I would say, until my 20 years old, 19 years old, when I discovered solo traveling and when I discovered the amazing culture and the diversity in Europe. I think Europe has taught me a lot, and since that trip, my eyes have been open. Since then, I realized traveling is one of the best teachers in the world. From that point, I think my life stopped being linear. I realized that I could learn a lot within these experiences. I could learn a lot, even though studying a university career or not, or studying a lot of courses, a lot about experience, a lot about knowing new people, a lot about traveling and facing new challenges every day on your own and with teams sometimes. But I've been traveling for a month and a half now, and I've been reconnected to that experience. So that's what I want to share with you in this episode. As I told you, since like 4 years ago when I made that trip, I fell so in love with traveling that I proposed myself and I compromised myself to develop a lifestyle that could let me travel a lot. Maybe making an income from my computer, developing a business that gives me geographic independence, but that has been one of my main goals within the last 4 years. And that's why the purpose was so big that I started doing new things a lot. I started reconnecting with new profession and new things that I really like doing, like services. I really like giving, like the masterminds for people that know me for a long time, or working and helping businesses to set goals and do accountability until reaching them. But those are tactics, I would say, for getting my big strategy. I really like making impact, but I think that when I can more make the impact is when I am more connected with me and when I'm enjoying life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not always about enjoying, but a lot of the time it is. If not, why are we here? No? So this is something really difficult, I think, for our generation to stop a little bit and think and take perspective of who we are and where we are. And I think traveling gave me a lot of that. So that is one point. My main strategy right now is to making an income and creating a business that really lets me live the life in my own, on my own values, on my own purposes, on my own, not having to follow any orders. But that is not the only thing. So right now I want to tell you some main things I'm learning while traveling. This is a lot of the opportunities to learn of other people. Here, when you travel in countries where there is like a lot of cultural diversity, like in countries here in Europe, there's a lot of people different from us. And the more different they are, the more we can learn from it. I mean, most of the time it's uncomfortable learning and maybe understanding people that has very different points of views, very different contexts, and very different ways of living, habits. But that's where the biggest opportunity to learn about people is, when they are the most different from us. That is one of the things I really like while traveling. The other thing is like the cultural diversity, as I told you, from each city. I mean, traveling here in Europe, I mean, we have a lot of beautiful places in South America, and I know there are a lot of beautiful places in all over the world. But this continent, I don't know, it changed my whole way of looking at art, from appreciating the work of human beings, maybe going to a church and looking at that thing that was built like 700 years ago by maybe 2,000 people working every day, and just looking at that and realizing, okay, so we've been doing this and hustling for a long time. The cultural diversity, the sacrifices previous generations made for us to be this wealthy, no? And yeah, all the cultural network, we'll say patrimonio in Spanish, but the cultural network, all the things that are preserved, is crazy. And one of the other things that caught my attention about traveling is the no linearity. I don't know how to say it. I mean, this is how it sounds to me. But the thing that life is not linear. When you travel, you really realize that. You get to see a lot of new routines about people, new ways of doing things, new ways of working, new ways of eating, new ways of everything, and that gives us a lot of. It really gets us out of our comfort zone, but in a good way, because we are very used to the things we do every day, and it is very difficult to change if we are doing every day the same. I think traveling gets us really out of our routine and getting to do new things. So the no linearity, I think 4 years ago, that was one of the key points that I started learning exponentially when I started traveling. So that is another point. But the thing that I most like about traveling is the opportunity it gives us to learn about ourselves. I'm in a new country. I mean, I'm living in a new country, new city, with new people and a completely new routine. And now I get to ask myself, who am I? How do I want to live my life? How do I want to build my new habits, my new routine, and in this new scenario? I mean, it's pretty new. It's from scratch. I have to start from scratch. I have to leave most of the things behind and get to build it from zero. So that's one of the points. You really start from scratch, and you can decide if you are going to keep the life as you are doing it in your place. That maybe that's fine, but maybe if you're looking for change and to reinvent yourself, it's a huge opportunity, because you don't have much to change. I mean, you don't have to delete things from your day-to-day routine. That is the main point, learning about yourself. And there's more about it, of learning about ourselves. It's like how, when you're traveling and you're surrounded by new people, and the image that we think people have about us is completely raised. I mean, maybe we'll still have it, but we are in a complete new context, and that for the ego is much easier when we want to change. So now I get to ask myself, like, how do I want to show myself to other people? How do I want to be? Like, here, that image that I think I have on other people is completely different. So living in another country invites you to reinvent yourself in a lot of ways. So I realized that when I'm traveling, I have like completely new chapters that I can write about my life, and that is great. that is great. Because as I told you, I don't like linearity, and I think I will reinvent myself a couple more times until I die. And I also plan to travel a lot, so those are things that are really complementing to each other. On the other side, I want to talk more about learning about ourselves when traveling, and it's like, what do I have to give? The ego sometimes, just not to lose its reputation, it limits us in a lot of ways. So being in a completely new context makes it easier for us to think, what do we have to give in this new context? No, we can start seeing things from different perspectives and just saying, okay, I'm good with this, but maybe I wasn't looking at that in my old context because I was so used to that, and I was so used to the image I have about myself and that I have to show myself like that to other people, that I wasn't even thinking about the things I'm good at and the things where I can help others. That's the thing that really helps, like when traveling, you really realize the things you are good at and the things where you can really make the difference. And it really gives you like that boost to help without fear. Lots of the times we are scared of helping, we are scared of showing what we have to give, maybe creating content, maybe just sharing our opinion on somewhere, or just saying what we think. But here, being in another country, again, it is easier to share your thoughts in new context. You have less fear for that shit. So I'm getting pretty sentimental in that, but those are things that I'm really living right now, and they are very easy to talk about them because I'm really getting to feel that, and it's not the first time I feel it. So yeah, there we have a vote. Hope this doesn't get too serious, but that's how I take my things, you know. I really like putting the seriousness in the things I do. But this is beautiful. This is quite a huge opportunity for me. As a conclusion for that, traveling really helps to reinvent yourself naturally, because the change is mandatory, I would say, when you travel. If not, you can't even enjoy it. If you are the same when you were at your place, the context really forces you to change. And if you refuse the change, you're really going to have a bad time, I would say. Because when you're open to that change and for the lessons that the traveling has to give you, it is amazing. It is amazing, and it is very gratifying. At least if you really want to learn from your traveling experience and enjoy it from this point of view of growing. And I can't go on without talking the economic opportunities. To all my audience listening from Argentina, they know what I'm talking about. On Friday, this Sunday, I met a guy from Argentina that told me he went to Mallorca for saving some money in a couple of months, and then he realizes he didn't want to come back anymore, maybe for vacation to Argentina. But the economic opportunities here are very huge. If you really want to work, you will have your space, and you will have a huge path and a huge amount of opportunities to take, because people here are really into working. There are a lot of talented people also, and I know in Argentina we also have a lot of talented people. So if you want to come here, maybe with a working visa, if you have a European residence, it's a huge opportunity. I realize that here opportunities are a lot. They're really looking for talent everywhere, and that's a thing we can really take advantage. Coming from South America, it's not the only solution, but in this phase of our lives where we are figuring ourselves out, it's better to have a better time and not having to struggle with uncertainty that our context gives us. It makes us stronger, that's for sure, but why reinventing the wheel, no? If things are really working here, maybe give it a shot. It's a good option for us to keep going and keep growing. We have to change a lot in Argentina. I really love my country, but it has a lot of things to improve. And I'm really looking forward to travel and live my life traveling, not in Argentina, but then coming back and giving a lot of opportunities to my place because I really love it. But it is very hard. I know my Argentinian audience will understand this point. So that's why also learning English is very important. I know if you listen to the episode until here, you must know English, but English also opens a lot of opportunity. I mean, everywhere is English spoken. In most of the country here, I would say in every country here in Europe, learning English is mandatory. We don't have that in other places, and that's a pity, because it really sets us out from all the countries in the world. But learning English and getting better in other English, like doing things like how I'm doing here, like not perfect, but improving at every word that I'm speaking is huge. So learn some English as you can. The best way to learn English is talking with people in English and losing the fucking fear and give it away. To close the shit, I don't really want to make it long, but traveling, even if it is for short periods of time, or longer periods of times, it really opens your perspective, man. Looking at different ways of doing things, different cultures, different routines of people, different infrastructures and architecture, different nature, really amplifies your perspective in a lot of ways. So all my life I wanted to be an entrepreneur and have my own business, maybe my own team, but traveling really woke up my curiosity spirit and my adventurous spirit. That spirit of wanting to create my own path, you know, creating something different, creating some impact, and at the same time that I enjoy that impact that I'm creating. And creating impact that at the same time lets me live the life I really want to live. I know that's not impossible. Having mentors for reaching that is essential. Having colleagues that are on the same path of you is also essential. Knowing people, it doesn't have to be personal, but knowing people that are already making what you do, what you want to do, is very helpful, because it gives you a lot of hope to keep going and persist in your dreams or the goals you have. Traveling broke with the linearity in my life. I can definitely affirm that, because yeah, it really woke this desire of wanting to learn more, wanting to create, wanting to show the world what I have and what I can do. And that's why I'm going to keep traveling a lot. That's why, yeah, I don't want to miss anything about this world. I know that's impossible, but I want to just know as much places as I can, and as much people, and learn as much culture as I can. And I hope I can share the process with you if you are looking at this in the early stages. I hope you're here in 20 years when I don't know what the fuck is going to happen, but it will be fun. I know it will be fun. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. This is quite a different thing. It really got out of my comfort zone. I've been thinking about this for a long time, but I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed recording it. I know it's not perfect, but it's good. It's good to go, good to share. Enough, I would say. No, not enough. It can always be better, but that's also the price of learning. So, what do you think about traveling? Please let me know in the comments, and give the super wherever you can. Just a like, subscribe, and 5 stars in Spotify. That always help. And yeah, please let me know what you think about this. I would really like to hear about that. So yeah, what do you think? Does traveling amplifies your perspective or not? What are your thoughts? What are your experiences on it? Guys, this has been Entrepreguntas number 17. I hope you have a very nice day, week, month, and year, and I hope you planify your next trip within the couple next month or week maybe. And I hope I really inspire yourself to travel more. Guys, this has been a pleasure for me in the Danubian Sea in Budapest. Have an amazing day, evening, night, whatever. Bye bye.